Mr. CTO of Accred Technologies and Technical Director of Accred Infotech. He is Enterprise Architect for Willie Parson, BSc, MNC in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. 16 years experience at Intel Corporation in information security include the Global Technical Lead in Corporate Technical Forensics Investigation as part of Global Investigation Team. We'll also like to show you a video teaser as a summary of his speech.
You may want to check your phone. A Russian IT company has discovered 500,000 phones around the world are infected with malware, allowing them to be controlled remotely. With it, everything from your banking passwords to your SMS and text messages, they could all be spied on. My colleague Neil Harvey spoke with a member of the company that uncovered the security breach.
How do they do that, like sort of imitating well-known companies?
They try to imitate well-known companies. They try to mimic to software updates to well-known software applications and plugins and all sort of this.
And am I right in thinking that it's not just kind of reading your phone, it gives them quite a lot of kind of control over it at the same time?
Yeah, correct. Basically, they get access to pretty much everything you have on your phone. For now, these criminals, they use it to steal money, but it's quite easy to imagine that in case they find something interesting in contact list, they could potentially use it to do something more significant than just stealing money.
And I just wondered, is that perhaps a good defense against this kind of malware? If you've got a very old-fashioned phone that doesn't even connect to the internet, then is that the most...
You're 100% secure with your old phone.
Now, ceremony invite the third speaker, Mr. Muhammad Fazil bin Harun, Technical Director, Accred Infotech, Sdn Bhd, with the title Malware Evaluation. Are you prepared? Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. First of all, thank you for everyone to be here and also the opportunity for me to come here and sharing some information. I might not be the best expert out there, but at least I can share some of the information that from my about 18 plus years experience in information security. Right, so the topics given to me today is malware evolution. Are you prepared? Malware has been a topic of discussion for many, many years ago, right? Back in the days when, in 1985, when the first worm was actually produced by mistake. There was a researcher working on the lab and writing a code and took advantage of one service called SendMail, and that was in Unix environment back then, back in 1985, and that was the Morris worm, and that was the first worm ever created. And then when he made a mistake, and then he tried to warn the others, his friends, system administrators from other universities, and what happened was, once the worm got released, and he sent a message to all his friends, email, notifying that, hey, this worm is start propagating, you need to do this and this and this to stop it. But it didn't work because the email is already clogged, the worm's already propagating very, very fast, and the worm actually ahead of the message that he sent out to his friends, and the worm clogged the network at that particular time. So the message never received by his friends throughout the world. And because of that, the worm impacting all the Unix system at that particular time. That was done in 1985, right? So for those who have the impression of malware is only on Windows, the first malware was on Unix, right? So Unix doesn't mean it's secure. All right, so let's see. All right, a little bit my profile, just glance through. So today we're going to talk about this malware. So I'm going to cover a little bit basic before we go to the evolution, right? So malware stands for malicious software, right? That's the better word for all these codes, because it used to be called virus, and everybody says it's virus, but virus is just one form of malware out there. Right? So it's inaccurate to use virus for all of this. All right, so you have this malware that will damage your system, will steal information from your system. It's appear in form of executable. It could be executable file.exe, could be loadable DLL files, could be a number of forms, scripts, active content, JavaScript, and so on. Right? So those code that being created with malicious intent, those are malware. So types of malware, there's a number of them. Right? This is just to cover basics so that everybody in the same page. So you have adware, bot, bugs, ransomware, rootkit, spyware, Trojan horse, virus, worm, and a number of others. So if you take a look, type of adware, seems like the screen is way on the side. I do not have anything for me to look at. Right, so as you can see, adware initially was created just to basically find out about your habits, your favorite things, things like that. Initially, when you look at advertisement, right, they have to basically show everything. Just a good example is when you watch TV. The TV ads doesn't tailor to your needs. It just show everything. However, with adware, you look at your cookies. When you're browsing, you look at fashion, for example. It knows that you like fashion. Now, the advertisement will be tailored to your needs. It will tend to go to your needs, and that's how it works. So, adware will keep track of your history, your basically the website that you visited, and so on. And then you have bot. Bot stands for robot. So you have malware installed on your systems, and it's become what they call zombie. Right? So your system is now being controlled. It's become a bot. The other type of malware is called bug. Bug is just, we can also call it vulnerabilities, things like that. Things that you programmed and is not what meets what you are programming for. It's just a mistakes, right? Those are bugs. And then you have ransomware, where you have a program, malware, malicious code, installed on your system, lock down your data, and then if you want your data back, please pay me some money. And those are happening as well. And you have rootkit. What happens if you have this malicious code running on your system, and you have antivirus to detect and clean up your system? Then the malware will be cleaned up, right? So the attacker tend to hide this malware. So they use rootkit to hide it, in the sense that if that malware is running on your system, it is undetectable. So there are many types of rootkit: Windows rootkit, Linux rootkit, kernel rootkit, and so on. It's just to hide itself from detection. You have a spyware, right? Spyware, similar to adware, but it's looking for your personal information. And you have Trojan horse. So once your system got compromised, it always wants to coming back to your system, so they call Trojan, also called a backdoor. Virus is the longest, the most known malware. It appends itself to a code, and then when the code is run, and it will execute itself. Then you have worm, where worm is malware that actually auto-propagate itself. So if you have a malware that auto-propagate at the same time doing damage on the system, it's not just worm, but it has multiple function. It's worm as well as virus and so on, right? So a number of symptoms that actually can be detected on the system when it's affected by malware. You have known some of this, and maybe not, but the most problematic at the end is probably, even though a system has been infected with malware, you do not know. There is no symptom observable by the user. Okay, and most of the time that is the common practice by the hackers these days. And that is the big problem with all of us. If you take a look at this trend, and this is the threat of malicious code, right? A number of, okay, a second here. All right, sophistication of the attack. It started from password guessing. When you try to get access into somebody's account, you start guessing what's the password. If you look at Hollywood movies, they start looking around and find some keyword and start key in that keyword and suddenly they get in. Those are the earliest form of hacking, right? So from there, as you can see, the sophistication become a lot more complicated. Take a look at the end here. You have a DDoS, distributed denial of service. You have botnet, where your system will be controlled, and the botnet can be used to attack, create distributed denial of service by using all these zombies and generated a lot of packets to the target victim, right? But then you have some type of botnet called Zeus these days. So that Zeus is another malware type of botnet that I'll discuss further later on with some examples as well. And the video mentioned about this online banking malware. Zeus is one of them that's been utilized out there. So as you can see here, some people talk about hackers being cool. Actually, to hack is easy. Even my grandmother, if she's still alive, she can also hack. Just press the key, right? Just bring up the tools, press the key, and she's hacking already. So the required knowledge to hack is very simple nowadays, right? You got a lot of tools to do hacking. If you take a look at the malware, the sophistication, as well as the trend from PC and small form factor or mobile devices, is very steep. It took very long for PC malware to get to that sophistication, but as you can see, for the mobile device malware from 2004, it's only a few years, just a couple of years, already and catching up with the PC malware sophistication. And this is really problematic. And the problem nowadays with malware such as Eurograbber that was attacking Europe a couple of years ago, nowadays we can see that in Malaysia now, they are actually creating a malware that work together on both sides, multifaceted malware. It attacked the desktop as well as the device, a mobile device. And this is really a big problem with our environment. This acceleration nowadays, one of the biggest motivator is because of money, right? They're using these capabilities to steal money, and this financial motivation has become a huge problem. If you take a look at this table, first the computers, and then start attacking the infrastructures. The target are computers, network, internet, data, mobile devices, and nowadays, as you can see, banking, $. That's become the target. You are seeing infrastructure, which is like industrial control systems, SCADA systems, are also started to being targeted as well as other systems that not being a target before, such as point of sales. We have seen a Target retail company in the US got attacked by attacking their point of sales. You know, the systems that used by the cashier when they ring the money and then punch in your credit card numbers, those are point of sales. And ATM. ATM is also getting targeted nowadays, even though it's a little bit secluded with a lot of security features there, but that's one of the target of the crackers and criminal out there. So as you can see here, if you take a look about what's research has been discussed before, and then later on, you are seeing that malware has been created targeting areas that been researched as one of the the potential areas of target. Back in 2000, you have this denial of service attack. You have June 2001, all of this got attacked with DDoS. Before, as you can see, these are the times before the multi-million botnet zombies are available out there, right? So they attack using Code Red and Nimda, those who've been around for a long time. You know, I got the first-hand experience as well dealing with Code Red and Nimda. You know, when the malware starts spreading, and in order to contain the malware from spreading, we need to basically add a filter, ACL, on the routers and start isolating the network. You know, from countries to countries, from site to site, from campus to campus, to ensure that this malware won't cause more damage. And then as you can see, Code Red was the problem because of vulnerabilities. And second, Nimda was taking advantage of Code Red. It patched and then leaving the backdoor. Later on, as you can see, infrastructure been attacked. You see the Cloud9 closed because of DDoS attack. As you can see, next one, SNMP vulnerabilities. Back then, 2002, I was in the US, and then I was working in the environment where many of my peers are also ex-military. Anybody knows what 2002, the big event happened at that time? Anybody? Maybe you are still in elementary school, right? You're not watching the news. 2002 was right after the Gulf War, right? So during the Gulf War, all the military systems, military vehicles, military devices are interconnected, and they are actually communicate to each other in real time. And what are one of the protocols that do they use? SNMP. And with that vulnerabilities, these devices can be compromised. And just imagine if US military devices, their tanks, can be controlled by somebody else outside, right? And they quickly realized this is a big problem during the war. And there was a big hoo-ha among my friends. They are ex-militaries, ex-intelligence, ex-network, a lot of role previously. And they are saying, how this happened, right? Those are SNMPs, and it's a big impact back then. Recently, we got another vulnerabilities, right? Impacting all the geek among the Linux users. What are those? The bash vulnerabilities, right? And then 2002, you got the DDoS attack on DNS servers, on the root server for the DNS. And that's a big problem. 2003, you got a SQL worm, SQL Slammer. Anybody got a chance playing around with SQL Slammer? Okay, nobody. All right, maybe one or two. SQL Slammer, when it attacked, at that particular time, already working in the SOC, in a global SOC, monitoring the whole network. And we are seeing this infection once it started detected and that network went down. Anybody knows why the network went down? SQL slammers using UDP to spread the packets, right? So it's just basically spewing a lot of packets out there in the network. By having two infected machines in the same local area network, the whole network down. That's it, because of this SQL slammer. Okay, and the researchers already discussed about this particular destructive code later on, and it's not even written into the disk. It's just loaded on the memory. So we talk about the forensics analysis, and doing malware analysis is another level. You cannot just use media analysis to work on malware analysis, right? You need to basically capture the memory as well. Later on in 2004, as you can see there, you got Netsky, Bagel, and the polymorphic type of malware attacking. And then you got Witty, very, very destructive. You got Nachi, you got PDA, the first PDA malware was created. This is before mobile devices. Back then, PDA is only using Wi-Fi, interconnected into the network, but not using cell. All right. After that, what you can see, a lot more malware is being created. And as you can see right here, 2010, when you got Aurora case. Anybody heard about Aurora case? Google got hacked before? It's not only Google got hacked, many other multinational companies also got hacked. All right? And they did not realize that happened within their own monitoring system. So what happened is they start analyzing, and when they monitor certain traffic, find out actually certain messages being sent out, calling home. And that was related to the Aurora case. There's a big hoo-ha at that time because of the leakage. All right, so back in 2010, later on mid-year of 2010, we got the Startnext. This is the first worm or the first malware that really targeted, really created with intelligence to detect its own target. One good example of advanced persistent threat, APT malware. You know what happened is the system that is targeted is air-gapped. It's not connected to the network. Anybody guess how the malware get into that system? PHP? USB drive, yes. You get to the system by using USB drive. But there was statistics saying that this malware tried to target this particular system, but the malware already infected a number of systems throughout the world, including Malaysia. It reached Malaysia, but it knows it's not the target, but using Malaysia as one of the gateway to spread into its target. That was Startnext. Right? Later on, you got, what is that? Eurograbbers, the online, we'll talk about that later on. You got the CryptoLocker, part of ransom kind of malware. And then you have Havex, SCADA, also attacking SCADA system, which is industrial control systems with a very advanced capabilities. This is a trend on the adware for this year, actually. As you can see in this trend, it shows, well, it went down a little bit from April this year all the way now. It's a little bit going down a little bit. And then you can see for backdoors and botnet, at this particular time, it went up. A lot of botnet actually been identified in early Q2, and then later on, it subsided. Do you know why is that? This is because during this peak, this is the infection time when it starts infecting machines. This is the time when it starts controlling the zombies, right? So as you can see, something like this, something happening already in the network. So right after this, after that, you need to start question yourself. Am I already been targeted? Am I already having systems inside my company, inside my organizations, already having zombies, botnet inside the network? And this is the exploit trend, as you can see here. Quite, you know, the trend is going up and down. A lot of exploit being identified. And this is rootkit trend, similar to the botnet earlier, because usually the botnet is using rootkit as well to hide itself. Okay, so once you got a peak right there, and then after that, it's a little bit quiet. And that is actually not a good sign. This is actually, from SOC perspective, this is a bad sign, because the malware already been spread around and it's already in your system. For Trojans widely used to remote control systems. As you can see, it's continuously being spread in the network. This is example of some of the Trojans identified. This type of Trojan, agent.bdmj, total amount is 469,000 got detected. First seen was June this year. Last seen was end of June. And for 16 days, actually, you're seeing this being spread around. If you see something like this, a lot of them being sent out, that's also should be giving you, an alarm that, hey, something's happening, and you need to start looking at your system. Because the problem is, once the malware is already sent out, and then it's already downloaded and installed in your system, you won't see anything. It will go quiet for a while before it starts doing its things. And then you got this Trojan generic 11, this number 210422. You got Trojan 48,000, and Trojan inject ARJ 155,000. As you can see, these are happening in Q2 this year. That's a lot of this actually is being spread around. Okay, let's take a look at the worm trend. A lot of them has been detected for Q2 this year. The trend, as you can see, peaked a couple of times. So there's a few worms, new worms actually being generated and being spread around. And these are the example of that. For worm generic, this one is 223,000. This 389275, 25,000, and so on. But as you can see, these two are very short for 1 day, and this particular worm is for 90 days. Because sometimes this worm has been created with specific purposes. So you need to basically take a look at that. Other malware is quite consistent throughout the Q2. Because many systems, they are no longer in 32-bit. They are running native in 64-bit. So you can see 64-bit malware also emerging to target specific systems. So in this case, it starts going up and down, as you can see here, because it starts spreading, and then the down part is basically maybe is targeted or basically attacking 32-bit system and so on. This is another 64-bit malware trend. This type of malware, as you can see, a lot of them actually been created and targeting specific. Some of them are very, very high. And as you can see, some of these malware are dedicated or created specifically to target mobile devices as well. So a lot of devices are actually infected. Study says 15 million of devices out there already infected, and the user not even knowing. So if you take a look at malware as a whole, per day, about 80,000 malware has been detected, all right? And those new malware in first half 2004, new threat, new malware, 85,970. Those are new malware for 6 months. We're talking about per day are the malware detected, right? And some of them is the different variant and so on. They just change a little bit here and there and become a new malware as well. but 64% of those are now targeting financial institutions. So it's a shift of trend. Malware used to be just for fun, to attack unknown targets, but nowadays they have a specific target for financial gain. And then you got 11% using malware that leaked private data, and then they sold it in the dark market. One of the malware, as if you recall, targeted Aramco, a company in Saudi Arabia, similar to Petronas in Malaysia. They are actually targeted. They leaked the information. We talk about that later on. That this malware using all exploit, but then with a new features. So if your organization is not ready to get infected or to get attacked in that particular incident, you will be in big trouble. These are the threat discoveries. As you can see, the trend is kind of linear. If you look a little bit, it's kind of starting off exponential as a lot more threats actually been discovered, and the trend goes this year as well. Infected countries, you want to take a look at Malaysia, right? We are top 10. So a lot of work been done by our friends in cybersecurity, but then they won't be successful without the help of all the users. So as you can see, first half, Malaysia is right there, and there's some increment for Malaysia. China was number 1, first half of last year, and first half of this year, it got half of those. And then as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, Indonesia was the largest, but there's a lot of reduction there. So the trend seems like many of them are going down, Malaysia is going up. All right, so that's not a good trend. For all users, the weakest link, which is the users, need to do something about that. So let's take a look about some examples of this malware. How's time? I'm not sure how much longer I have. All right. Okay. So ransomware, we talk about the profit, data theft, and so on. Let's take a look. Some of them are simple locker. This one is you have the external device containing your data, and then what it does, it locks that device. So when you try to access, suddenly, hey, where's my drive? Used to be connected, but then all the files are already encrypted. And then you got a message after that. It's just like the old days, once the daughter of a rich man got kidnapped, and then they got a phone call. Please pay to get your daughter back. Now, you got a message saying that you want your data, you have to pay us. All right, so some people, if you have backups, that's fine. But sometimes critical data there, because backups are not happening real time. Backups are happening at periodic time, daily, weekly, monthly, and so on. All right. And then you have a trick connector. This is a malware that leads the users to go or to send SMS and then automatically connect to the internet. It's just tricking the users. And then you got get example here of malware to subscribe recurrent charges. This is again financial gain. You got malware that's basically as if it's a Google Play app store, so that you can install application from there. It's just to fool the user. Hey, we are legit Google Play. Go ahead and install application from us. All right. So if you get fooled with that, and you end up actually installing application that's not legit, and this application potentially a malware that will attack your online banking. All right, and then you have another malware attacking. This is a botnet type, text thief, and it's blocked your text messages, SMS, and then sending that to the messages to the basically paid subscriber services. This is another type. and you have this good example of web authentication. This is a basic web authentication where when you are doing online banking, for example, you have, let's see, this is actually two-way authentication, or this is one way, and then this is a two-way. The regular authentication, you just type in username and password, and you got in. The two-way authentication is you enter your password, and you got authenticated, but then it will also send a TAN number, tag number, and then tag number, you look at your phone, and then you typed it on your laptop to finish the second authentication. All right, this is good. It's been a while, been used in online banking. However, the problem is the attacker also studies your policy. Right? So they look at two-way authentication, and they come up with a way how to steal the information by using malware. So they study the technology that's used to do two-way authentication, and they come up with this method. All right, so first, it required to infect a PC. You use online banking, you use PC for online banking most of the time, so they will infect your PC. So a number of methods can be used to infect your PC. All right, so once your system got infected, and then they will retrieve your mobile information. What type of mobile device, what is your mobile device number, and so on, and start attacking your mobile device. Once your mobile device got attacked and then got compromised, so when you are doing your two-way authentication, the SMS been sent to your mobile device, they will capture that information. And when you're doing online banking, everything's actually beyond your control. The reason is, a lot of people thought if you are on online banking, you need to click here and there for the money before the money got transferred. That's not the case actually. What it does is, the malware right there is just using your authenticated session and send illicit session, illicit what they call packets, as if it's a transaction that you want to do, and that transaction actually behind the door. You're not seeing that on your device. This is example of phishing related to that, thanks to this person. So I basically brought the name up there. But this is example of phishing attack, where if you got this message, what do? It's coming from CIMB. You claim to be a CIMB, but then you see the address right there. Is that CIMB? Of course it's not. So you need to basically take a look, and if it's not exactly what you're looking for, better not clicking on that. We talked about how it infects the machine. I used phishing earlier, but then when it tries to get the information of your mobile devices so that it can attack your mobile devices used for online banking, it will use social engineering. In this case, it social engineered you by injecting a page asking you certain information. In this case, is asking you your mobile device that you use. And this is very recent, this week, right? Right, very recent, that this attack is very similar to another attack last year in Europe. So I think they are getting the same code, just translate from Italian, Spanish, all of that to English so that everybody can read here, add extra features, and then send it out. And when you install the malware, you got this message, installation complete, all of that, from as if it's coming from the bank. All right, so this is not good if you do that. So that's why installing application on a mobile device, you need to install it from the legitimate application, like the Google Apps and so on. All right. The reason the attack was really successful, one of them is because of this botnet. If you want this link, you let me know. If you want basically a sample of that. Because this is a real URL. If you click on that, you got the malware. And this command and control, this actually been spread around, and then it got hosted. This one is related to Eurograbber last year. With this URL, once people click on that, what will happen? They got infected. The problem with social networking nowadays, like Facebook, a lot of people using a short URL. Do you know what URL is that? You never know until you click on that. Once you click on that, it's already too late, right? So that is the problem, and a lot of people got infected because of that. And this Zeus clone botnet, as you can see here, it also created what we call web inject. So injected this to the financial institution, and then when people click on this, it's going back to download the command and control, which is bad as well. And this is another example of Zeus tracker, one type of Zeus command and control here. Host status is already offline, this particular site. But then, these are the config URL for this command and control. So what happened is, Zeus actually is one example of botnet that is for sale. It is for sale. And it's even better than some of the commercial software. You can buy this Zeus software, and then for whatever purpose you want to do, to attack online banking and so on, the price, if you can afford, is about 20,000 US dollar. You have the money? Go and buy one. And then if you basically use this code to attack, and suddenly it did not work, they have a warranty that allows you, okay, you send a complaint to them, I used this code, it didn't work, and they will basically have a support. They have a warranty for that. Hey, try to use another code, and you'll be successful. And that's what happened, right? So they have a support behind it. So nowadays, this malware, no longer newbies, no longer script kiddies, not just professionals, they make it really, really professional and a business in making, right? So this is a real problem. So if you take a look at this, you are a client inside USIM, using USIM's network, and then you are visited LinkedIn. You're starting your career and you want to portray yourself, a good image and so on, you start having LinkedIn account. Everybody have it, right? And then you have Facebook, that one's more professional, Facebook more so, right? And then you have Twitter, you express all your short message on Twitter and start tagging everybody, including the question I will ask later on. And then you might click on phishing emails, as well as you visited infested website with malware. So what happened is, when you are browsing on the internet without realizing, especially, I think Juarez already been blocked nowadays, right? But before, a lot of people are going to Juarez website. Just visiting that Juarez website, it will push malware to your system by default. So you got present. So if you are the client within an organization, or while you are connected to application server, and all these clients visited this website, and what happened is, to protect your browsing experiences, you are using very well-known antivirus, right? There's a lot of vendors out there, which is good. They're doing their good job for all these years. But with the latest attack, all this botnet, the percentage may be maximum 40, 45%, lowest maybe 35% of detection. Blacklisting no longer works to detect all these botnet. All right, so this antivirus will interfere, will check, looking at its signature, Once it's known malware, it will basically block and delete. So what happened is, you have these zeros coming in. Only 35% got detected. So what happened next? So what happened next is, this virus will start using your system to connect to whatever application server that you connected to, using your system, right? If you have online banking session, it will use that to attack your account. So what's missing right here is a technology to detect your session without requiring a client, but at the same time protecting the session. We have multiple security parameters out there. We have firewall. In this case, firewall won't work. We have what they call intrusion detection. Signatures might not detect. You have intrusion prevention. Similar technologies will not detect. You have web application firewall. It detects scripts, right? Certain scripts. But if it's using session to do a transaction of illicit transfer, then it will not be able to detect. So this is a gap right here in terms of protection. So what's our additional protection probably can be used out there to minimize and protect all these systems? On the user end, as you can see here, blacklisting no longer works, no longer enough to protect. You need whitelisting kind of technology. I think even cybersecurity got anti-phishing script can be added to your browser, which is good. And then you have dedicated systems only for online banking. If not, you need to use a way to isolate your online banking experience, such as using Sandbox. It will block your, creating like another layer between your systems and your browser when you are connected to the internet, right? So that will prevent the malware. If your system is already infected with malware, it will block that malware from accessing the session that you are having with your online banking. On the server end, as you can see, you need a capabilities to detect, monitor, inspect the post and put command being sent by the client. Anybody familiar with web application hacking? Maybe just you want to stay quiet, but one of the technique is you go and access the website, and then you alter the code, and then you send it back to the server, right? So this is the problem right there, because the server doesn't know what's been sent, right? But if the server has the capabilities to what we call aware about the code, HTML code that's been sent, available on the server, and then when it's modified or altered that it receives, it'll do the comparison with what's the original code that it has. It will do the intelligently able to detect that kind of malware infection. And then require non-agent, because agent-based, remember, the weakest link is the user. So many of the systems that infecting the servers or are causing all these problems are from the users. 1 million users, maybe 20% kind of rule, maybe 80 protected, 20 are not. Probably those 20 do not have not even updated antivirus. And then you got transaction level activities. This protection requires the capabilities to inspect at the transaction, not just a session, but the transaction that's been sent out, right? Banking, usually they do not have that capabilities. They only do it later on after the fact. And again, next generation kind of protection against botnet, I think that one's still an emerging kind of capabilities, not totally mature yet, as well as one whole ecosystem that will protect our e-commerce and online banking. Okay? All right, so far that's what I want to cover for today. I know it's not enough time, potentially, but At least that will give you some ideas, what's the malware, the evolution, and then the impact to us as a user. Okay, so I'll leave it to you all. Do you have any question? Yes.
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
I have two questions. Firstly, do you see a mobile malware becoming a dangerous trend, as nowadays people practice BYOD or bring your own device? Secondly, what is the best way for us as a mobile Android users? Because mostly Android users are not IT illiterate, not really aware about malware thingy. So what is the best way of Android users to detect or trace that their mobile has been infected by malware? Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. So we got two questions. One is BYOD, and second is on Android security. So for BYOD, actually, if you're implementing BYOD, it's not just security on the mobile device. You have a whole ecosystems that need to be in place to secure your whole environment from infection, from attacks generated by the device when the device got infected, as well as to protect the data belongs to the organization, such as intellectual property. Thank you. Intellectual property files and so on. So with that, for BYOD, it is a very common practice nowadays. You need to have, the best way is to look at it from the whole architecture. Make sure you have multiple layers, defense in depth, multiple layers of protections, as well as two types of protections on the device itself. One is the mobile device management capabilities, as well as the mobile device, mobile security, mobile security solution. Mobile device management allows the, let's say, the corporate environment, organizations to control the device remotely, to lock down, to do remote wipe, to protect data, to do updates remotely, and so on. While the mobile security solutions on that particular device is to protect the device from attack, just similar to the antivirus function, firewall, and so on, but it is at the device level. On your second question, Android security. One method of protecting your device is from educating yourself. What are the security practices that you need to do to avoid your device from being attacked? And the quite common mistakes are the device got stolen, and you do not have strong password set to it. You do not have, you have a lot of data, personal data, all of that not protected. So my suggestion is get some solution to secure that. So if, let's say, your device is stolen, you can first remote wipe it, even though there's some issues depending on the model on remote wiping, but the device will be protected and encrypted. All right, so that is on the mobile device. A lot more topics, actually. As we can see, the first speaker, Sheikh Muslim, already mentioned about the forensic side. On the security side, there's a lot of things you need to look at as well, because mobile device, you need to treat it as if it is your PC. Very, very similar, but with a lot of, because of the mobility, there's a lot of basically risk that come with it. All right? Thank you. Any other questions? If you do not have any questions, I have questions for you. I'll leave it for 1 or 2%. One more questions, maybe? Yes.
Okay, I just got one question for you. I just want to know, when we are cracking or patching some software, is it harmful for our laptop or PC?
Can you say it again?
Okay, let's just say I have an internet download manager and I'm patching it or cracking it using some software or certain software. So is it the software itself harmful to the laptop or PC?
Okay, thank you for the questions. You're using download imager to install software and patches and so on your system, right? So first of all, the software you download, you need to be careful. Most of the time people get, okay, this software seems like a good feature, I want to use it, download, and basically use it. Lo and behold, that software already Trojaned. Anybody check the hash before you install? You download and then compare the hash of that particular application? No. That's good. You can be the next victim, right? You need to check the hash of the application. You check with whatever the hash that's been posted, and sometimes even that already faked if that website's already been attacked. So you need to check that, run hash locally on your system, find out the executable that you downloaded are actually the same. Because if they already Trojaned that application, you install it, end game, right? So your system will be compromised. So you need to make sure you download the legitimate application. And then in terms of using third party to install and patch your system, you need to basically look case by case basis. But main thing is you need to make sure the software that you use is legit, and then it's downloading patches, software installation and so on from legitimate website as well. Because some website, they use multiple websites to install application. If one of them is already infected, already attacked, and already compromised, and you're downloading that particular application without knowing, you get infected as well. Okay, so you need to be careful on that. Last questions? No? Okay, if there's none, I give you one question for you to basically answer on Twitter. I already start with pencil and paper. All right, so the question is, for those who are good listener, will be able to answer. For those who are good, having good eyes, they won't be able to answer. Okay, so what vulnerability, what service, okay, let me rephrase that. What vulnerability has been used in creating Morris worm, and what caused the worm, and what caused the other sysadmin unable to get the news about that particular worm? Okay, there's two parts. That's my spontaneous question actually. So hopefully that works. All right, so let me say it one more time. What service, what vulnerability of a service that's been taken advantage by worm, Morris worm, and what caused the other sysadmin of the Morris worm author unable to get the news about the worm? Easy, right? Yes, all right, very good. Looking forward for your answer then. Thank you very much.